Hello, magandang gabi. Ito ang Luminous with Uncle JP, Isang Dangkal, and me. Magandang gabi po. Asan na kayo?
Good evening, good evening, good
Asan
evening.
na kayo?
Sino? Ako? I'm at home.
Oh,
I'm at home.
Oroquieta? Oroquieta
Yeah.
na yan.
Oroquita, the city of gold, the
So,
city
si
of good
Uncle
life,
JP is already in Oroquieta.
in the city of good life.
Okay naman yung biyahe. Nagdala ba kayo ng sasakyan?
Hindi ah. Hindi. Ano lang dinala namin yung broomstick. Nimbus 2000.
Nimbus 2000. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Magandang
na
gabi. Sino ba nandito ngayon? Marami tayong mga friend na
Marami,
Waki.
Victory.
Si
Good
Waki,
evening po.
Mamangko. Nila.
Si
Good evening natin
Feisty.
nila. Si Liza. Merong
Ay,
may
ito.
nag-hi sa atin galing sa UAE o siya nga
Maganda.
Uy,
Maganda.
good evening, Pearly Shells. And
Maganda.
Si Victorino Alonzo. Maaga to ha? Maaga. 10:26, nandito na siya.
Si Rocky, hello.
Brooklyn.
Anong ginawa nito na Rocky ngayong araw?
Ba? Nang troll yan eh.
Anong ginawa ni Rocky? Sabi mo, may ginawa.
Nang troll. Kawawa yung troll. Nagsabi na, anong laban ko sa kanila?
Sino tinatroll niya?
Anong laban ko sa kanila? Troll lang ako, abogado sila.
Ako po, tayo pa yung mahina.
Napaamin tuloy yung troll. Troll lang po ako, hindi ko kaya yun.
Bye-bye, may gabi tay.
Ay nako, Tatay Strauss. Magayumang gabi, Tatay Strauss. Ay, so ang question natin, boss, di ba? Yung ating constitution kasi, medyo siya selective sa mga bagay-bagay. Masyado siyang mapili. Bakit ba ganyan yung constitution natin? Hindi pa pantay-pantay na lang lahat. Kung sinabing bawal ang mga dayuhan, dapat bawal dayuhan. O di kaya kung pwede yung dayuhan, pwede lahat. May 40, may 60, may 90, may 70. Ano pa yan? Ang gulo. Ano bang ginawa niyo dyan sa
Meron
batas sa
siguro
Torne?
rason yan.
Ha? Kaya nga.
Wait. Oo, may natanggap na ako. Yung kay Jeremy, natanggap ko na. Thank you. I still have to...
Video?
Kasi dalawa pa lang eh. Dalawa pa lang ang dumating. So, later tonight, after this live stream, I will check it again. Kung meron na tayong 4, let's start the discussion on
yung tungkol yan sa Constitution. Uy, interesado ako dyan ha. Absent ako nun.
Thank you, Sherry. Si
Ikaw
Luna.
Ikaw kasi, mo
sige,
ulit.
Sorry.
Ulitin mo ulit yung invitation mo. Napanood ko yon. Late nga lang ako. Ulitin mo ulit para yung mga ibang gustong mag-volunteer. Di ba? Na mag-record.
Alright. Meron tayong post. Mamaya I will put it up here para makita naman uli ng mga ngayon lang dumating. Ngayon lang pumunta. May project tayo, just a short introduction. May project tayo dito sa Isang Dangkal and Luminous pages na ang tinatawag ay reading the Constitution. Okay? The idea is for us to read the Constitution, orally read the Constitution, the text of the Constitution, from the preamble to the last provision of the Constitution, the 1987 Constitution, the one that is in effect today. We will just read it, and we agreed to do it on video, so that later on, when we have completed the entire text of the Constitution, then we can compile all the video clips and post it on YouTube as a compiled clip, which showcases different people reading the Constitution. So meron tayong invitation doon for volunteers to do the reading on their own creative and artistic ways, not necessarily a video of yourself reading the Constitution, but But you can be creative. It can be anything. It can be a cartoon. It can be an animation or whatever. Diba? It can be you during your regular work day while you are working. You pause for a while and take
Mm.
a video clip of you reading the
May video ba?
Constitution.
May video?
Reading,
May,
meaning
yeah, may
you have to
video.
read it.
So may video. Or
Yes,
audio lang.
pagka meron na kasing hindi, nasa email pa eh, so kailangan
Mm.
mo siyang i-download. Yeah, may
Mm-mm.
video, may video.
So para tong ano, para tong
Video at
audiobook.
saka audio dapat.
So para
Kasi
siyang
kung
audiobook or compilation.
but well, you have to at least submit a video clip. It does not
Mm.
have to be you in the video. It can be
Ah,
an animation, it can be a montage or whatever.
one
So para
paragraph.
siyang magiging siyang audiobook, di ba?
Nice, nice, nice.
Na depende kung anong
Pwede tayo
mapili mo,
sumali?
kung maraming provisions so you can choose. Of course, anybody can join it. Just pick a provision of the Constitution. If you want to do more than one, you can choose from many different provisions of the Constitution. There is a list that we posted on Luminous that you can where you can write your name and say which provisions you want to do on
Yun,
Read
yun,
the
yun.
Constitution project.
Sige, sige. So meron ng
nandun yun.
saan
We will
isasubmit? Saan
repost.
isasubmit?
I think I will make it a pinned post sa Luminous so
I-pin mo
everyone
yan sa
can
Luminous.
see it
Group.
all the time.
Sa group na lang.
Yeah.
Put it in a pin post in the Luminous group. So if you are interested to
Eh,
join
hindi
in,
naman silang lahat kasi miyembro.
mahirap ba
They have to
magpa-member sa
join
Luminous
the
group?
group.
Join the Luminous group.
No,
Diba?
madali lang. Madali lang.
Oh, you just need
Well,
to
okay.
signify.
For those who have already begun,
Hmm.
yes, but you can do that on Luminous page or on the group page. I will post it later on and pin it
Teka,
there. Para
kasi
makita tayo.
si Rocky na naguguluhan ako. Gusto ko ito muna.
Yun nga yung
Kasi
tinutukoy niya.
ito kasi ito. Yan o. Tama yung sinasabi niya dun sa ating project. Torne, bakit ba may mga abogado talagang nagtatanga-tangahan? Kasama ba yan sa law school? Nuturo din ba yun?
Hindi
Tanga-tangahan
naman yan sila
101.
nagtatanga-tangahan. Well, wala naman yatang abogado na nagtatanga-tangahan about the Constitution. They know the Constitution, but as you know,
Nagmamagaling pala yan.
only the Supreme Court can decidedly and definitively interpret the Constitution. So, parang tipong, ito yung opinion ko, ito yung baka tumama ako, parang ganyan.
At
So, for
tsamba-tsambahan
those
pala yun.
people who actually ignore the Constitution and do stuff on their own, then maybe their ignorance, they're trying to ignore the Constitution would actually reduce them to ignorance. But to most people, especially lawyers, they do know the Constitution. They won't pass the bar if they don't know it.
But they won't make money if they
pero-
will stick to what they know.
Yes, because again, there is always a leeway in the interpretation of the Constitution so long as it's not patently illegal. I-interpret mo yung Constitution na completely illegal and you ask people to believe you also, sedition na yun. Inciting to sedition.
Ito pa nga, wala pa
But,
nga tayong ini-interpret. Mayroon na tayong, ano yung CHDF ba to? CHDF?
CHF, I think that is
French something?
CHF is the
French cheese din to,
legal
no? French
tender
cheese.
and
O French? French
parang
cuisine?
pera yata yan ng Switzerland or something. Or
Hindi,
French or something like
French
that.
cheese
Franc
man
yan,
yung
it's Franc.
Frank. Oh, whatever. Thank you, sharing me. And,
Swiss
yeah,
franc.
Swiss francs. Okay. So,
Thank you.
pag hindi tayo
for
nagtatanga-tangahan, pag hindi talaga. Ganito talaga. Nawiwid na ako. Kunwari, ikaw ay Diyos. Yan yung tanong. If you are a God,
Mabagal nga ikaw, no?
ikaw din, mabagal ka din. If you are a God, will you qualify dun sa mga requirements ng citizenship sa ating konstitusyon? If you are a God.
Probably because
God,
you can
You're a
be
citizen
what
of
you will.
everywhere. Mm-hmm.
Well, if you are a God, you would you can be what you want to be. So if you want to be Filipino suddenly and purely and a natural born Filipino, then you can
Mm.
be a natural born Filipino. But if you are not a god, that's
Mm.
a really very hard thing to do.
Nasa ano yun, di ba? Kay Billy the Kid. You are not a god.
A god.
Di ba? So there are some people talaga who believe that they are gods and they can do anything, they can do everything. Di ba?
There is one person who believes he is Satan, but
Yeah, but that
who
he
cares
because
about
he
it?
is Satan, he cannot do anything.
He
Because
cannot
Satan
do
cannot
anything.
create. Satan can only
No,
destroy.
he can only annoy God.
Annoy. Oh. Now,
Nothing more than that.
the God. Why do we say they're important now? Because sabi nga ni Jesus, I am the way, the truth, and the light. Andun na siya sa way. Yung truth, sa kanya na. Light na
True.
lang ang kulang. Pag
Wait,
nakapasok pa siya ngayon sa United Nations, wala na. Parang yung trifecta, kompleto na. Di ba?
sa United
Is,
Nations, bakit?
hmm, is
Kailangan ba
hindi,
magpamiyembro yung Diyos sa United Nations? Parang di ko,
hindi, ma-dominate niya. Dominatrix nga, di ba? Ang tawag sa mga,
ano na,
anong tawag ni kay Virgin Mary, di ba dominatrix? May latigo, wapa! Oh, dominatrix ang tawag doon, di ba? Ano? Ba't ka nag-freeze?
siya ay,
Domina.
ang tawag na yan? Dominatrix.
Nagagalit ang mga Diyos sa akin, no? Narinig niyo ba yung kulog at kidlat? Tatamaan ako ng
Kumukulog dyan.
kidlat. Kumukulog.
Tatamaan ka ng kidlat dyan, brother.
Tatamaan ako ng kidlat. Mulan. Mulan sa amin. Andito ako sa pare ko. Andito ako sa labas ng bahay. And it's raining outside and the gods are angry. Why? Because walang Meralco dito sa amin. Kasi nasa ako nasa Mindanao. Walang poder ang mga Diyos ng mga Lopez dito. Di ba? Ano kami? Direkta kami sa mga Diyos din namin dito. Pero, kita niyo yung kidlat? Naririnig niyo ba? Naririnig niyo? Okay.
Naririnig ko.
Ganyan, nagagalit ang mga Diyos pag pinag-uusapan sila.
Ganun ba?
Oo. Yun.
Nagagalit.
Sabi, di ba?
Usapan?
Oo. Magandang gabi, Sasi. Sasi 17. O, maganda eh.
Hello, Sassy. I like your bangs.
Yeah. Ngayon, ang CBCP sumusunod na at sumumpa na sa kanya.
Sumusunod
Obispo
sa
yan.
ano?
Kay Maria Reza.
Sino? Reresa?
CBCP. Oo. Sumasamba na
Sumusunod
sila
na
sa
sa kanya
kanya.
yung CBCP?
Opo. Sabi ng
Talaga?
Rappler sabi ng Rappler nakalista. CBCP.
Mhm.
Kayo mga abogado, sumusunod na rin sa kanya. Kayo yung 4th level. Alala niyo yung sinasabi niyang 4 na level? The mesh, the media. After the
Kami yung
media,
4th level.
the first level is the media, the 16 media in the Philippines. And then
Yeah.
the second level is the institutions, the business and the business and the NGOs. Third level
Mhm.
are the ang tawag niya dito, yung mga yung mga bishops, mga religious mga leaders to. The amplifiers ng kanyang gospel of truth. Truth. Kaya yung way, nailatag niya yung way in 4 levels. And the 4th level is the legal community, and that's you. The integrated power of the Philippines. You're now all under the saklaw of Maria Reza's hegemony, or ano bang tawag dyan? Megalopolis. Megalopolis, tama?
Empire.
Oh,
Empire?
megalopolis. Oh,
Empire? Oh,
megalopula.
megalomania.
Hindi. Kaya nga, kung mayroon kang
Mania.
megalomania at nakuha mo na yon, ano ang tawag doon? Megalopolis? Or megalopula? Or megalotanga? Ano? What do you call that when you achieve your megalomania? Nawala ba si Ahmed o ako?
Megalopolis.
Anong tawag? Megalopolis. So, yun. Saklaw na kayong lahat. Ngayon, ipapasok pa niya sa United Nations yung kanyang ano. Siya daw yung kukuning ano? Ano sabi dito? Na-post ko to pero hindi ko na may retrieve dyan ng madalian. Saan nga ba daw siya mapupunta? Sa United Nations. What is this? Policy making body. First. The first policy making body of the UN panel for internet policy. Oh my God. Sasaklawin tayong lahat yan. Kaya mabilis, kaya mabagal ang yung internet connection, saklaw tayo niyan. Diyos na talaga to. Ngayon, ang tanong, kung ikaw ba ay Diyos, pwede ka bang magmay-ari ng mass media ng Pilipinas?
Ano pala ang balak niyang gawin yan?
Ay, hindi ko alam. Basta ito yung alam ko. Nasabi ng Kongreso. Palakihan lang natin ng konti, no?
Palakihin mo nga ng konti.
Opo. Mahal na Diyos. Yun din ba yung tatawag ko sa iyo ngayon, mahal na Diyos?
Yung ano, yung
Si stop sharing. Pwede ko ba itong tanggalin dito? Hindi
Bakit?
ata eh. Hindi ata eh.
Bakit ba
Ayan na,
tatanggalin?
okay na yan. Okay na yan, no? Pwede
Yan
na
o,
yan,
yun
ano?
yung katabi ng 40 para
Ito.
ano, yan.
Ito pa? Pitful page? Ay, hindi.
Yan, tama. Oh,
Pitwid.
yan.
Yan. Okay. Ito, click. Ba't tayo nyo mawala? Bahala siya.
Click away from it.
Okay, what is this?
Ano nga ba yan? Ayan, wala na.
What is this, ladies and gentlemen? What is this finish? The finish line, okay, we have to thank Adrian. Of course, we thank our dear friend Adrian for providing us a copy of this. Findings and recommendations of the House of Representatives. Sabi niya, no? Okay, they're talking here, okay, the most important part here, wag na muna natin pag-usapan si ABS-CBN kasi tungkol to kay ABS-CBN eh. Talon tayo about citizenship.
Yan.
Yan. Terne, para, kasi mahina yung signal ko, ikaw kaya magbasa, mas maganda ata signal mo eh. Nagkalit yung
Hindi
mga
naman
sa
natin
akin.
kailangan basahin yan.
Okay.
Well, they can see that and they will read that, but we will discuss it. Kagaya ng first paragraph, ang intindi natin dyan si Mr. Lopez ay pinanganak sa Amerika. So dahil jus soli sila, Amerikano siya.
Ang ibig
Pero
sabihin
ang
ng Ius
kanyang
Solis
parents,
ay kung saan mo na silayan ang sikat ng mahal na araw. Ang Diyos.
Pinanganak.
Ang Diyos ng sino yan? Sino ba yan siya? Si
Ra.
God of
Ra.
Ra. Where you first see Ra, that is where you are born. Or that is your citizenship. Tama? Kasi nung pinanganak ko yung si Nico, alam mo yun, di ba? Nung pinanganak ko, pinresenta ko kagad siya sa araw. Ito yung anak ko.
Saan ba yun? Sa
Pinresenta ko
PGH?
Sa PGH. Nilabas ko kagad dun sa may di ba yung sa PGH dun sa gitna, meron mga ano doon, meron may mga puno dun sa third floor. Nilabas ko kagad siya dun sa araw. Pinagbilat siya sa araw. Tuwan-tuwa yung anak ko. Yung anak kong babae, hindi ko na ilabas sa araw, kaya hanggang ngayon, ayaw talaga niya sa araw.
Nako.
Yun yung Diyos Soli. Yun yung Diyos Soli, no? Diyos Soli.
Okay. Pero dahil ang kanyang magulang na si Eugenio Lopez Jr. at si Conchita Lao, Filipino. Pilipino silang dalawa. Ngayon, ang ating batas sa Pilipinas, sa ating civil code, at saka sa ating constitution, nagde-define ng ano, ng
Citizenship.
ating citizenship sa based on yung
Parents.
use sanguinis. Hindi yon just or just. Use lang. J-U-S. J-U-S, hindi just. Use sanguinis. Ang sanguinis, sangue, means blood. Sangue, Italian, Latin. Sangue. Use sanguinis, the law of the blood.
Diba?
Or the bloodline or something like that. So, kung
Di ba sa
nanay mo ay Pilipino at tatay mo ay Pilipino, ay ibig sabihin ikaw ay Pilipino rin.
Pero sabi diyan sa ano, di ba sa Da Vinci Code, Sangreal. Yeah? Sangreal. Royal blood, tama ba? Si Da Vinci Code.
Sangreal. Sangreal is royal blood.
Kaya, ito daw yung kanyang depensa ni paring Henny. Na? Ito daw. Pero ano daw ang sabi ng ating konstitusyon? Prohibits non-Filipinos from owning and managing mass media.
Section 11, number 1. Ang pagmamayari at pagmamanage, okay? Ang pagmamayari, that's one action, and or management, another action. Okay, it doesn't mean na ikaw dapat ang may-ari at manager, hindi. Kundi ikaw ang magmay-ari, bawal sa iyo 'yan. Kung hindi ka may-ari pero manager ka, bawal pa rin sa iyo 'yan. 'Di ba? Kasi kung ikaw ay individual, and kailangan you are a natural born citizen. Which he is a natural born citizen of the Philippines. Kasi Pilipino nga yung kanyang mga magulang. At it doesn't matter kung saan ka pinanganak sa ating batas because it follows the person. Ang ating civil code, yung citizenship follows the person. Hindi yung follows the place where you are born. It follows the person and his blood or his bloodline. So, kahit sa US siya pinanganak, dahil ang mga magulang niya ay Pilipino, Pilipino din siya. Nung sabi ng konstitusyon na kailangan holy Filipino ka. Holy Filipino.
Holy na holy. H-O-L-Y? Banal?
Hindi, W-H-O-L-L-Y.
Buo.
Holy.
Buo. Hindi banal. So hindi ito Diyos ang pinag-uusapan natin dito?
Hindi muna. Mamaya na yung Diyos. Kikidlat na naman niya dyan.
Sige. Makidlatan na talaga ako, nakaganon na ako.
Mamaya na yung Diyos na yan. Okay.
Ano daw?
Sabi ng konstitusyon na kailangan na ang manager o ang owner, kahit isang owner dyan, ay kailangan na wholly Filipino. Ngayon, ang tanong wholly Filipino ba ang isang dual citizen pagdating sa pagmamayari o pagmamanage ng mass media company? Yan yung tanong dyan. Anong finding? Ano daw ang intent ng Constitution when it said it must be a wholly Filipino? Yan daw ang sabi ng paliwanag ngayon nila dyan.
Sabi, distinction. Down ko. Okay,
Ayan. There's only corporations, cooperatives or associations wholly owned and managed, okay, by Filipino citizens may own and manage mass media. Ayun na tayo sinasabi dyan. Any iota of foreign equity is already disqualification and results in violation of the constitutional prohibition. In other words, corporations, cooperatives, or associations partly owned and partly managed, okay, I don't think na end yan or yan or. Partly owned or wholly owned Filipino but partly managed by a non-Filipino is also prohibited. Diba? But, in this case kasi sa kaso ni ABS-CBN at saka ni Lopez, it's not only partly owned by a foreigner, a dual citizen, it is also partly managed by a dual citizen. At sabi nila dito ay hindi daw yan pwede.
Mhm.
Bakit?
Bakit?
Kasi sinabi
Teka.
daw rin daw ng konstitusyon na dual allegiance of citizens is inimical to the national interest and shall be dealt with by law.
Mm.
That is a separate provision of the Constitution, which is different from the one that we read uh, up there above this.
Okay.
Yung
So
magsasabing
it's
sino
at
ang
odds with each
mag-may-ari.
other, no?
So, meron daw sila, they are repugnant to each other daw, sabi.
Yun ang paboritong word ni Gwen. Naalala mo si Gwen?
Oh, si Gwen de Vera.
Repugnant to the Constitution.
Repugnant. Repugnant, yeah.
Okay.
This distinction in the treatment of dual citizens is important because of the sensitive and vital position of mass media.
Oh.
Yan. Kasi kung hindi sana yan na mass media, ay pwede siguro i-manage siya ng kahit alien yan siya. Pero dahil ang mass media ay importante at merong state interest dyan, kailangan stricto tayo dyan.
So, ang last paragraph is
Because Mr. Lopez is a dual citizen possessing both Philippine and U.S. citizenships, this committee believes that he is barred from owning and managing ABS-CBN, a mass media entity which the Constitution restricts to Filipino citizens only. The fact of foreign citizenship disqualifies him from owning and managing a mass media entity. Yan.
So, ang mga Diyos,
Sabi.
hindi pwede. Sa madaling
Pwede.
salita,
Pero kailangan
Diyos,
sila mag-election. They may have to elect first.
kung
Diba?
gusto nila maging Diyos ng Pilipino, Pilipino lang.
Filipino lang.
Hindi na sila pwede maging Diyos ng United Nations.
Pwede, siguro. Gawin niya Pilipino lahat yung United Nations.
Paano kung
God nga.
itong si Santa Maria ay dual citizen din? Yan ba ay equal protection of the law kung sasabihin na ang dual citizen na si Gabby Lopez ay hindi maaring may-ari ng mass media, pero ang dual citizen na Maria Reza ay pwede?
Mass media ba yung Rappler? Yun yung tanong. Kasi ang alam ko, real estate broker yun eh.
Oh, pero ang sabi nga, di ba? Sabi sa Civil Code, kung ikaw ay nagpanggap na isang klaseng kumpanya, you will be judged as that kind of company. And that is their findings dito sa SEC. Eh, yun nga yung depensa nila. We are not a mass media company. We're not engaged in mass media. Yun yung depensa nila.
Nice.
Yeah. Pero sabi nga no way. You're doing it. Oh, pero ngayon, this is Congress now saying Gabby Lopez cannot own a mass media company. And manage it.
Teka muna.
Oh.
Paliwanag muna natin. Di ba sinabi natin sa Constitution that only the Supreme Court has the power to interpret the provisions of the Constitution. But merong proviso yan. Meron yan siyang qualification. Anong qualification dyan? Only the Supreme Court has the power to interpret the provisions of the Constitution when it is or they are, kung maraming provisions ang involved, they figure in a controversy, which means it is a case. May dalawang partido na nag-qualify sila sa requirements ng cause of action and therefore their conflict makes it to the courts or court system. Ngayon, pagdating sa court system, iisa lang ang may power dyan na mag-interpret ng Constitution. Yan yung Supreme Court. Pero hindi sinasabi dyan na ang Supreme Court lang din ang may power na mag-interpret ng Constitution kung ang question naman ay hindi nag-arise or does not exist in an environment that is justiciable, meaning the environment is not in court. So if it is in Congress, for example, it is Congress that has the paramount power, the plenary power to interpret the Constitution for its own purposes.
Mhm.
Yan yun. At ngayon, when it
Ito
is
yung interpret ng
Congress,
Congress. Kasi
when
ang
it is the
tinatanong dito,
Congress
will you
that
grant him the
interprets this
franchise or not?
question, yes. So in this case, it's Congress because
Hmm.
the questions exist in the environment, okay, in the environment or jurisdiction of the Congress, then its interpretation here is also paramount. Yan yon. Mm.
Ah, okay. Maganda tong tanong ni Oseng. Okay. If she cannot own and manage, then technically she could be freed from a cyber libel case. No, because we're talking only
No,
about the owning and managing a mass media station as a business. Okay, like you can commit cyber libel. I can commit cyber libel by imputing against you any crime, any vice, any defect that you do not have or you have not
even
committed.
if
Even if I'm just a
even
private
if
person, I'm not a
or even
registered.
if you're a foreigner,
Mm,
even if you are a foreigner,
yeah,
yan.
yon. So
If
anyone
you're a
can
foreigner.
commit cyber libel. In the same way
Mm.
that Walden Bello can commit cyber libel, or Mejorada can commit cyber libel, or even Kusi is being accused by Senator Gatchalian for having committed cyber libel. Kusi,
Mm.
ha? Kusi as the Department of Energy Secretary for his publication in the website of the Department of Energy, that is government website. That is a very good question in a libel case. Can the government publication commit libel against not an ordinary citizen but a senator of the republic?
Well, it can be, it can be solved in a manner that maybe discusses
Yeah.
in what
Oh.
capacity did he do the libeling of this person.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But anyway,
Because,
anyone can commit cyber libel.
mm,
But the question here is, can you do business as mass media and enter into
meaning
contracts
own
as
and
a
manage.
mass media?
Mm.
Present yourself as reporters of a Filipino mass media entity when in fact you are not. You are an American, or you are a quasi human. You are half god and
The
half
me God.
a demigod, or maybe a real god, a full god, a saint,
Okay.
a Santa
Oh, edi
Maria.
yan yung
Ha?
finding ng House because
Kaya nga,
when Congress is engaged in its function as the originator and the sole authority on the grant of franchises for for public utilities and like this, like mass media broadcast corporation, ay sila lang din ang may power dito at hindi itong desisyon nila ay hindi pwedeng questionin ng basta-basta na lang outside of court. At kahit na nga dalhin ito sa korte, may hirapan din ang mag-question itong finding ito dahil it is a political question. Sasabihin ng Supreme Court na hindi namin mapakialaman yan because they arrived at that decision in full exercise of their plenary powers as the arbiter of political questions.
may
Yun.
maganda naman tanong si Oseng. Is this sub judice? On this topic, no. You know why? This one is not in court. This is a decision of the Congress. And second, does
Tapos na.
Maria does Maria Reza actually have a case in the Supreme Court? Okay. This
Meron na
morning
daw,
I watched
nakapile na daw
PP
sila.
that they filed daw an appeal in the
Mm.
Supreme Court against the finality of the Court of Appeals. Uwe,
Meron silang
really?
days doon eh. I think na
Anong final nila?
hindi pa natatapos.
Hmm?
Hindi pa yata natatapos yung kanilang reglementary period. Hindi pa natatapos.
Talaga?
They still have time.
Talaga? Talaga? Ang decision kasi
Hindi pa yata.
ang decision kasi ng SEC is tenored like this.
Hindi, wait.
We are
Are we talking
implementing.
about Maria Ressa? Are
Maria
we talking
Ressa.
about Maria Ressa?
Yeah, the SEC case, okay? Una, this is not a criminal case, this is an administrative case. So wala mga sub-judice ata dito. Okay?
Meron din.
Meron din. But anyway,
Mm.
ito kasi yung tenor ng SEC decision. This already went to the Court of Appeals, and we have been informed that the Supreme Court already issued a resolution that this decision of the Court of Appeals is already final and executory. How can they go up to the Supreme Court? And TP said,
Tapos na.
in fairness kanina, I do not know if TP is correct, if he has proof that there is in fact a case filed or elevated in the Supreme Court, because the SEC would not have issued that final order of revoking the license of Rappler if it was still within the reglementary period. Tama ba ako, Tony?
Well,
They
yun
could
nga,
not.
depende kasi sa tanong, sa issue. Because they can very well, I don't know kung ano ang i-final nila. Yan ang problema kasi natin We don't know kung meron na silang i-final at kung ano yun. Pero just for
She appealed what and where and what? Yun yung tanong. What
kasi
did she
CA
appeal?
kasi yung but again, we are not talking about Maria Ressa, we are talking about Lopez. So
Yeah.
if we happen to relate it to the case of Maria Ressa, it's not sub judice because we are not talking about Maria Ressa's case in a way which would probably interfere with the opinions of the judge or justices that will be considering it and judging it. So
Yes.
we are talking about Lopez.
And
not,
this is a very
Maria Ressa.
intelligent discussion in a very limited forum, because this is not even public dahil this is a restricted restricted publication.
Well, that is a presumption. We are just assuming that. But
Okay, anyway.
Facebook always say, no, we are not restricting them. Konti lang talaga followers nila.
Okay, fine. Well, do you have proof of this appeal? Like, do you have a link?
I don't.
Diba? Any
I don't.
publication, any formal claim made by Rappler that they really made an appeal, then maybe that's a nice thing to watch. No? Dahil that would be interesting, in fact, because that would be the first time that the Supreme Court will decide on an issue of foreign ownership in mass media. That would be great. That would be great. In fact, we'd like them to do that so that there will be a determination by the Supreme Court and it will become part of our law. Hindi yung nanguhula tayo ng ganito, no?
I don't know if it, because are we talking about the libel case?
No. We're talking about the SEC, the 100% ownership.
Yung Rappler case, hindi yung libel case ni Maria
Not the
Ressa.
libel, ha? If she appealed the libel, that's her choice. That's
Okay.
We're talking about the SEC closure case, which is based on the question of ownership, not
I
of
think
her
tapos na.
own citizenship, ha? But the
Tapos na yan,
ownership.
tapos
Tapos
na yan.
na yun.
I think
Okay? Yeah. And they could not appeal it on this manner. Hindi nga ito yung issue eh. So, how could she continue to claim, okay, they're no longer doing business, right? I don't see any ads in
Well,
Rappler. Allegedly. Because the business can come in other ways when you're in media. You can be a paid
Yes.
troll, you can be a paid site, you can be a paid
Blogger.
di ba? Paid talk. Paid
Blogger.
yung ACDC, okay? Yung aming terminolohiya sa probinsya, ACDC. Attack, collect, defend, collect. Okay? Yun yung mga trabaho ng mga media na walang pera. Attack, collect, defend, collect. Yun? Yeah, Ozeng, we like your inputs, okay? No problem. You don't have to, wag mong sundan ng sorry, ha? Okay, alright. Pag nag-ACDC ka sa media, you still make money. You don't need any ads. Okay? So, We do not know if they are making money that way, or maybe they're just being paid just to be there, like a
Ay, kasi
placeholder,
meron
no?
meron pa ring
Placeholder.
mga Rappler reporters who go to the di pala Rappler, ano pala yun, ABS-CBN pala yun. Okay. My bad.
No, they still go to the field. I know because they still do reporting from the field,
I know.
and
But
that entails
I
cost,
thought I wanted
diba?
to say they still go to Malacanang, but no, they are not going to Malacanang anymore.
Yan,
They
welcome
don't
kasi
they are
since the
not.
time of Digong,
Oo nga, I
sama-sama daw
think
kasi nung
ayaw na nila.
sinimulan kasi daw yan ni ano, Muka Uson, yung kliyente mo. Ayaw mo magsalita dahil kliyente mo.
Bahala si
Oh,
Digong
yan.
kung ano ang ginawa niya doon. Basta, di naman korte yun eh.
Hindi pala, si ano pala, Martin Andanar, ang nagbawal sa kanila, di ba? Yun.
Hindi.
Anyway,
I think the president did that because not because they are journalists, but because they were disorderly and that they disobeyed the security group, yung ano, PSG.
pambabastos ba yun? Or ano, yung
I
parang
think that
gross disobedience?
inassault niya yung ano nakipaglaban siya parang nagbubog.
Wow.
Alam mo yun?
Okay,
Wala.
just to settle Lopez citizenship, Gabis, are we interested in this or we just go to the PDR?
Hindi, yun muna.
Interesado pala to dismiss.
Importante ito eh.
There is a
But
cloud
we
of
can
doubt.
gloss over this if you want.
Hindi kasi maganda yun. Hindi, okay. Alright. There is a cloud of doubt on Mr. Lopez Filipino citizenship and allegiance to the Philippines. Why does the Congress say that? Gumanda na ba yung signal ko?
Maganda
Mr.
na, maganda na.
Lopez hinges his
Sana wala.
Filipino citizenship on the fact that both his parents are Filipino citizens at the time of his birth. A closer examination of the records from the DOJ and the Bureau of Immigration, however, reveals that there is no clear and convincing proof that Mr. Lopez's parents were Filipino citizens at the time of his birth.
Patay.
Diyos soli, Diyos sanguine, Diyos banana chips ko. Di ba?
Patay.
Patay ka, paktay na. Apart from a sworn affidavit of his mother, which for all legal purposes considered self-serving, no other evidence was adduced to prove that Mr. Lopez's mother, Conchita Lao Lopez, was a Filipino citizen at the time of Mr. Lopez's birth. In fact, Mr. Lopez was not able to produce the authenticated birth certificate of his parents when he applied for recognition of his Filipino citizenship or during the hearings by the committee. Neither were the Philippine passports of his parents presented to the committee.
Oh.
When you do not even
Baka
prove
tamad
eh.
lang.
Tinanong siya ng
Baka tamad
tinanong.
lang siya.
Apat na hearing. Pare ko, di ba naalala mo? The first 4 hearings were about his citizenship. And di ba, nagsawa na tayo nun eh. Kakakomento nun sa radyo. Tama na yan. That wouldn't even solve the main issues. The main issues are so heavy. And you spend 4 days on his citizenship?
We were completely wrong about that comment. This is actually the crux of the matter.
Ay, bakit. Pero, yeah, after reading this, sabi ko, shit, ang sinasabi namin sa radyo nun, tigilan nyo na yung citizenship.
Kasi
Grant nyo
nakakainis
yan
na
sa
eh. Nakakainis na kasi dahil malinaw na itong tao na to does not want to prove, does
That
not
he's
have
Filipino.
anything. That has nothing. He has nothing to prove his Filipino citizenship because he was banking on the fact na wala, hindi na nila tatanungin yan. Pilipino ako Pilipino
Sabay.
tatay ko. Kinulong pa nga
Mr.
niya.
Lopez.
Ganun sila.
Mr. Lopez, can you recite the Panatang Makabayan?
tumingin-tingin sa gilid, hindi niya ni-recite. Kahit yung
Even,
luma,
even just the first part of it.
even the old one.
Wala siyang
Alam,
reset, pare.
ang alam ko yung luma lang pare, hindi ko alam yung bago eh. Mga bata yung
Mr.
may alam.
Lopez himself, yan yung in the service of the Filipino people. Mr. Lopez himself does not have a Philippine government-issued birth certificate, which could have served as conclusive proof that he is a Filipino citizen. As pointed out during the proceeding, Mr. Lopez has not submitted his Philippine birth certificate, i.e., his Philippine report of birth as authenticated by the Philippine Statistics Authority. His parents were required under Philippine regulation to immediately report his birth at the nearest Philippine embassy or consulate to document his Filipino citizenship. But they failed to do so. His parents, including Mr. Lopez himself, could have applied for delayed registration of birth, but they likewise failed to do so.
Wala talaga.
So when they do not do their requirements as Filipinos, oy kayo ha mga babaeng nandiyan dyan sa ibang bansa, may katungkulan kayo na kapag kayo nanganak dyan, yan ay report niya sa embassy.
I-report niyo yung report of birth.
Huwag yung pamarisan to mga to.
Oo. Kung nga meron kayong balak na maging Pilipino yung anak niyo, kung wala naman. Kung halimbawa, wala naman kayong kalupaan dito sa Pilipinas, kasi doing that, okay, registering the birth of your child who is otherwise another country's citizen because he was born there, ay yung ating constitution merong prohibition from selling or transferring any property to foreigners. But if your children are Filipinos because they were registered at birth, yung kanilang pagpanganak ay na-report mo dito sa ating embassy na malapit, sabi, Filipino yan. And even if they are actually Americans, but they are still Filipinos because they were born of parents who are Filipinos or a parent who is a Filipino, then they are not exactly foreigners in the eyes of the Constitution insofar as inheriting a piece of land. So there are actually cases where foreigners own land in this country.
Because they were once Filipinos and they are inheriting it from their Filipino parents. But,
by inheritance.
Okay, this guy was born in 1952. Baka sabihin nyo, kasi nung pinanganak siya, panahon ni Marcos yun. Hindi po nung panahon ni Marcos, nang-rape na siya.
Malalibel ka dyan, baliw.
Hindi, may kaso naman talaga siyang rape nun eh. Di ba?
Okay. Allegedly,
sa Supreme Court dyan.
siya.
Oo.
Allegedly.
Kinasuhan na siya ng rape. Okay, kinasuhan na siya ng rape nung panahon ni Marcos. Siya ay pinanganak noong 1952. Ito ay panahon natin ni President Quirino. Okay?
Hindi
So
na yun.
Walang, kumbaga, walang threat, walang reason. Kung tunay na Pilipino yung kanyang tatay, na anak ng kapatid ng Vice President ng Pilipinas, di ba? Ay walang dahilan para hindi niya sundin yung batas noong 1952. Kung yan ay talagang Pilipinong bata, hindi pa pa-register mo yung Pilipino, tama?
Pero mahirap pa.
Vice President.
Tingnan muna natin. Mahirap kaya, ano ba ang sitwasyon ng 1952? May giyera ba? Wala naman ba?
Wala, nasa Amerika sila. Nag-enjoy sila doon. Nag-aaral yung tatay niya ay pinapaaral ng kanilang lolo na kapatid ng Vice President sa Harvard.
Oh.
Diba?
Magaling.
They were living the life. Diba? Living the life. Living la vida
So,
loca.
ibig sabihin, it is possibly, it's plausible that they just really were
Not
negligent
Filipinos.
about it.
Negligent or not Filipinos? Either negligent or not Filipinos. Yun yung tanong.
Or they were not Filipinos at all. They did not believe they are Filipinos and therefore they do not have the obligation to report it and to make sure that their child becomes Filipino.
What does the birth certificate say? Mr. Lopez's U.S. birth certificate does not state that his parents are Filipino citizens. It merely states that they are of brown color, brown cow, and that their place of birth is Manila. Okay. Further, Mr. Lopez never submitted to the Bureau of Immigration or DOJ or even to this committee the Philippine passport of his father, Eugenio Lopez Jr., to prove that his father was still Filipino at the time Mr. Lopez birth, at time of Mr. Lopez birth in 1952. Mr. Lopez submitted to the Bureau of Immigration a copy of a Philippine passport of his mother, Conchita, but said passport was only issued in 1998, 46 years after Mr. Lopez's birth in 1952. Verily, the lack of proof of Filipino citizenship of Mr. Lopez's parents at the time of his birth was apparent in the Bureau of Immigration officials' handwritten notation comments dated March 27, 2001, stating that there is no proof of Filipino citizenship of his mother at the time of his applicant's birth on August 13, 1952. Allegedly, his mother is also deceased. Walang makaka-prove, walang makakapatunay kung ano yung patay. His
Kasi
parents,
namatay na.
Wag naman. Sorry po. His parents' Filipino citizenship at the time of Mr. Lopez's birth is specific and crucial fact not present in the records of the Bureau of Immigration. Pak Tailo, you are just a god. If these parents were already American citizen at the time of his birth, it was impossible for them to transmit Filipino citizenship to Mr. Lopez through Jews. Sanguini. Moreover, huwag na natin puntahan yung moreover.
Malapit na yan.
Voting.
Oh, dalawang paragraph na lang.
Ito pala, maganda. Maganda. This committee finds it deeply disturbing that Mr. Lopez cavalierly admits that he voted in the U.S. elections as recently as 2016.
Nako po.
Mr. Congressman Bautista, while you live in as an American citizen in the U.S., did you ever vote in the U.S. election? Chairperson Alvarado si magaling to si Alvarado si Mr. Lopez. Damit. Yes, Your Honor. I voted in 2016. The 2016 election. Voting in an election is the supreme act of citizenship.
Tapos,
Buti nga wala nagtanong sa kanya, how about in the Philippine election, did you ever vote?
baka hindi nga siya bumoto dito eh. Kasi ma-question yung kanyang citizenship eh. Hindi siya bibigyan ng certificate.
In sum, makapunta tayo dito. Mr. Lopez birth as a Filipino was never registered. It took him 50 years to apply for recognition as a Filipino citizen, presenting no clear and convincing evidence that his parents were Filipino citizens at the time of his birth. From birth even to the present, he continues to use his U.S. passport. He even voted during the last U.S. presidential elections. All these acts, taken together, demonstrate a pattern and ultimately cast doubt on the Filipino citizenship and allegiance of Mr.
Mr. Lopez.
Lopez.
Patay na. So that seems to be a definitive finding of the Congress acting as the sole determiner of certain things or circumstances when they are exercising their power to grant franchise.
Pero
Tapos na
pero
yan.
dahil last night napag-usapan natin, pwede ba ako mag-jump muna doon sa mga page 39 po, attorney? I-jump ko lang. Nandito tayo ngayon sa page 6, ano? Page 39 para to kay Raul.
Sa penultimate page tayo.
Penultimatum. Raul. Asan ba to? Mga ubos to sila. Hitik na hitik.
Sige,
Sabi
39,
di ba doon sa
39.
mga ano? Ay, hindi doon. Tax avoidance. Dito to sa labor. Ayan. Labor. Kasi tayo naman lahat ay mga manggagawa, di ba? Meron kasing binanggit dito tungkol dun sa 12,000 at 11,000 kamo, no? Raul while ABS-CBN gives non-regular employees various company-initiated benefits. Alam mo yung sino-sino yung sinasabi ditong non-regular employees? Sila Vice Ganda, yung mga artistang mga sikat, yung mga kilalang-kilala nyo at mga love na love nating lahat. Okay? Sila, yun, magaganda. It can't give the benefit most important and advantageous to them, security of tenure. It is unfortunate. Di ba? Yung mga puro lang kayo talent. It is most unfortunate that a multi-billion company like ABS-CBN has not regularized its independent contractors, talents, contractuals, project, and seasonal workers who perform the functions of regular employees. This committee notes that only 25% or 2,661 of the total 11,701 workers of ABS-CBN are regular employees. Rahul!
Teka muna. Di ba meron tayong pinost dati na mga pangalan na sumisweldo ng halos 500 milyon sa isang buwan? Sa isang taon? Ganun ba yun? Sorry.
Marami.
Hindi pala pala sabihin yan. Bang klase?
Rahul!
Yun ba yung mga regular employees na sinasabi nila, yung 25% lang? Parang 5 lang yata yung nakita ko doon
Ang ganda pa nung post mo doon sa Luminous Inanalyze mo pa yung mga yung mga words kung anong ginagrant.
Inanalyze ko yung Raul. Yung
yung kay Johnny Pimentel at saka kay Raul.
Renew.
Sabi ni Raul, i-renew daw kasi may 11,000.
Wala na nga gusto nyo pa ipa-renew. Di ba? Yun ang tinatawag na loaded, di ba? Yun loaded na naman yan eh. Pagka pumayag kang i-renew yan, ibig sabihin, hindi pala yan na deny. Di ba? Completely. Anyway. Sweet talaga no?
Nakakaawa. Importante. Ayun Findings ng Kongreso, 25% lang po. Ano ba sinasabi ng mga tao? Tayo lang ata natutuwa dito Natatawa.
Meron pa nga silang sinasabi. Di ba may breakdown pa sila ditong 11,701? Kagabi yata yung diniscuss natin sa kagabi.
Yung preparatory statement, ano ba yung tawag doon? Ano yung tawag doon? Yung unahan? Yan. Yung unahan ng bill?
Explanatory note.
Explanatory note. Nagkama. Ito, maganda to sa comment niya. 11 million nga pala daw yan. Sabi ni Rappler.
11 million nga
Hindi daw yan 11,000. 11 million daw yan.
Pinak-check nila yung Congress.
11
Sinabi
million.
11 million. Wow, ang dami naman trabahante dyan. Talagang kapanipaniwala yung sinabi ng ng House of Representatives na walang kwenta kayo, 11 million yung empleyado nyo, 2,661 lang yung regular.
Wait lang. Gusto ko lang pasalamatan si Adrian for keeping a copy of this one. Kasi natuwa na tayo masyado
Wala na sa Congress to. Tinago. Pina-expunge pa.
Itong visit na to. Ang hirap hanapin nito. Wala. I-search mo to, Wala kang mahanap.
In-expunge. Pahingin kopya, i-email mo sa maraming tao. Pang klase no? Paano kaya nila nagagawa yan? Paano kaya nila nagagawa yan? May expunge yung records.
Ni-review ko nga yung mga post ko, di ba? Natatakot na ako. Natatakot na tayo nun before nila to terminate yung hearing. Isipin ko yung daily bulletin. Ang lumalabas doon sa Daily Bulletin, hindi yung
Yung
nangyari sa
sinasabi
araw.
natin the day before. Yung discussion
Ibang-iba.
natin, 576, patay.
Iba. Wala.
Patay na tayo.
Kunwari, yung sa citizenship, ang lalabas doon, Filipino citizen. I-review nyo yung Daily Bulletin ng mga hearing. Nako, ibang-iba. Okay. Balik lang ako sa...
Sinago na nila pala to. Okay.
Balikan natin sa PDR, ha? PDR was page 60.
Baba.
Huwag na yung American citizenship. PDR.
Baba.
PDR. Okay.
Yan.
Titigilan tayo naman tayo dito sa PDR ngayong gabi. Hanggang dito lang tayo.
Titigil tayo dyan, oo.
PDR lang muna tayo. Iba na yung tax. Iba na yung ano. Kasi...
Iba yun. Mahirap yun eh.
Mahirap.
Imbitahin natin si si Attorney Nick. Imbitahin natin si
Opo.
Attorney Nick.
Gusto ko yun.
Oo, kasi magaling yun sa tax eh.
Okay, bakit ba ito naging mahalaga? Kasi nakalagay din kasi sa prangkisa. Maliban dyan sa section 10 na kung saan nakapokus ang lahat ng tao sa ngayon, ano, na before ka maglipat, may nakalagay din dyan sa prangkisa na susunod ka sa batas ng Pilipinas.
Yes. All.
Mas basic po
Especially
yun.
broadcast laws.
Ito yung mas basic. Ikaw naman muna magbasa ito niya. Tatawa na ako ng todo.
Okay. In arguing for the validity of the issuance and sale of PDRs to foreigners, ABS-CBN maintains that 1. It is not a novel idea since its counterparts in the countries like America now. Well, that's wrong. That is a completely wrong statement. Number 2, the PDRs were issued by ABS-CBN Holding Corp, which has a distinct separate personality from ABS-CBN Broadcasting. What are you talking about? Diba ang nagpatakbo minsan, ano ba yun? Basta, we solved this problem eh. Nagsinungaling na naman sila dyan eh. Number 3, the PDRs are different from shares of stock. Okay. And do not confer ownership over ABS. They completely lied on this part as well. There are 2 rights granted by PDR holders, to wit, cash distribution and exercise right or option to purchase the underlying share. Kung dalawa pala yung rights, di pwede nilang piliin yung exercise right or option to purchase underlying share. Kasi otherwise, it's no longer a PDR kung iisa lang yung kanilang right dyan, yung cash distribution lang. But no, talagang ina-insist nilang dalawa yan. Di sige. Bawal yan. ABS-CBN issued PDRs to foreigners.
I know. Nakamute ako kasi tawa ko ng tawa dito. Anyway, ABS-CBN and PDRs, hindi ko talaga kayang tumigil, pare.
Sige, tumawa ka lang muna dyan. The Securities Regulations Code, SRC, implementing rules and regulations define beneficial owner or beneficial ownership as any person who directly or indirectly through any contract, arrangement, understanding, relationship, or otherwise has or shares voting power, which includes the power to vote or to direct the voting of such security and or investment returns, or power, which includes the power to dispose of or direct the disposition of such security. Okay.
Sir, basic. Do you own
Basic
it
yan
or...
sila. Basic yan sila. So, ibig sabihin, hindi mo pwedeng i-issue yung PDR sa foreigners kapag ka ang iyong business ay mass media. Kasi dapat wholly owned. At kung nagbenta ka ng PDR sa foreigners, you are no longer wholly owned Filipino corporation.
Sa'yo to, akin to.
What's that?
Ito, sa'yo to, sa akin to.
Akin yan.
Sa'yo to.
Kainin mo.
Kainin ko. Kaya pa ko?
Tingnan mo. Makasarili
Okay,
ito.
sa'yo na.
Para pasalubong ko yan, nakain niya. ABS-CBN Holdings Corp. Issued over, okay. Ngayon, nagninitpick sila. Sinasabi nila, hindi naman yun. Holdings naman yung nagbibenta niyan. Hindi naman yan yung may-ari nitong korporasyon. Pero,
tingnan mo, ilang
ito
percent?
yung tanong.
Ilang percent?
Ilang percent? 62.6%. O di more than 60, patay na.
Ang napunta sa foreigners.
Mm.
Okay? And then, what did that whole uh, 298 million shares comprise in terms of the entire, okay, punta na tayo doon ha,
Holding.
para medyo, and then the holdings, it
Mm.
comprised 34.67% shares of ABS-CBN. That means, ilan ang natira in Filipino hands na ano? Kasi itong 34 is already majority foreign owned.
60,
Ang napunta sa,
67.
and there are two-thirds
Mm.
requirements, di ba?
Mm.
Ano bang ending dito? ABS-CBN Holdings does not have the full benefits of ownership over the shares of stocks underlying the PDRs because it is not in legal possession of the shares and not entitled to the fruits thereof. In terms of this,
Nag-piercing.
I am the one
Nag-piercing sila.
who is able to eat. Di ba?
Nag-piercing
Ako.
sila of corporate identity.
Correct.
Tama ka.
Now, okay?
Ayos.
Meron bang control o wala? Di ba?
Meron.
Sabi nila wala. Di ba? Pero, to this committee, the mechanism of corporate layering employed by ABS-CBN and ABS-CBN Holdings effectively makes the PDR holders the indirect owners of the underlying shares of stock of ABS-CBN. Indeed, while ABS-CBN Holding is the nominal owner of the shares of stocks, it cannot exercise the full rights of ownership because it entered into a contract of pledge over the shares of stocks with the Philippine Central Depository
So,
Inc.
so wala silang possession kasi possession ang pinag-uusapan niyo sa pledge. If it is not in your possession, you cannot sell it.
Sa'yo to?
Mm.
Sa'yo ka to? Sa'yo to? Nasa akin eh.
Akin yan.
Nasa akin eh.
Kinakain niya. Hindi, wala akong
Kinakain ko.
magagawa.
May magagawa ka? Well, di ba?
Yan.
Ganun lang yun.
Bakit? Kasi itong evidence of ownership of share of stock is a movable property. And whoever has the possession of movable property has a presumption, enjoys the presumption of actual ownership of the property.
Sige. Ibenta mo nga to, Atty. Ahmed. Benta mo. Subukan mo ibenta.
Movable
Ibenta mo
property
to ngayon.
kasi yan siya.
Hindi, ibenta mo dyan sa lahat ng natin, nanonood sa atin dyan. Try to sell this. I'm holding on to it. Can you sell this?
I can't. Well, I can sell it, but I can't deliver it.
Ang sabi di ba? Because the pledge securing the PDR, both ABS-CBN and ABS-CBN Holdings cannot dispose the underlying shares covered by the pledge agreement in favor of the PDR holders. Similarly, the holding company is neither in legal possession of the shares nor entitled to the fruits. The cash dividends, less the operating expenses and taxes of ABS-CBN Holdings belongs to the PDR holder.
Who are foreigners.
The impression given by the issuance of the PDR is that it was resorted to creatively allow the participation of foreigners to fully nationalized and partially nationalized activities. The foreign holders of PDR practically own 187 million underlying shares of ABS-CBN Corporation, which is already 62% of the total, and nothing restricts ABS-CBN from issuing shares of stock of ABS-CBN Holding Corporation, and the latter from selling more PDRs representing all of its shares in the ABS-CBN Corporation. So technically, they can actually sell it to foreigners altogether.
Completely. Completely.
Congress shouldn't indirectly allow foreigners to acquire economic rights to the cash flow of mass media corporations, which is the very evil the Constitution seeks to prevent.
Tapos,
Okay. And ito pa. Sabi, ito hindi ko na to this is a lawyer thing Very lawyer thing. There are some decisions in the corporation code that requires 2/3 vote.
yes.
Like what?
One of them is amendment of articles, selling of most or all of its property and capital stock, and incur indebtedness, expanded. Ay, nandiyan pala eh. Taragis. Bakit ko pa ni-recite? Ayan naman pala eh. Mabagal lang kasi mag-scroll eh, no? Ayan.
ABS-CBN cannot do all of this anymore without the approval of the foreigners
Oh.
because they are
Oh.
only have 65% left. And this requires two-thirds, 66.6% to be able to be done.
Oh.
If the foreigners
So,
say no,
pag nagbobotohan
Hmm.
in any of these activities, for example, mag-declare ng dividends
Oh.
o to amend bylaws,
Posibleng
approval
nag-block.
of plan of merger or consolidation, hindi nila magawa yan kung hindi pumayag yung mga foreigners. So this is a
Consolidation. Consolidation. Pumayag
consolidation
kaya
or
sila?
ha?
Sino ba talaga dapat ang pumayag? Foreigners o Congress sa
Eh,
consolidation?
two-thirds. Two-thirds.
Tapos
two-thirds.
Congress.
Ay, di. Ang Congress is approval lang yan ng merger. The decision to enter into a merger in the corporation, in the board, for example,
Sila
or
muna.
in the stockholders meeting, is two-thirds of all Filipino company. Ngayon, kahit na halimbawa, sabihin natin na hindi naman daw foreigners ang magmay-ari niyan, all Filipino pa rin yan. Pero dahil yung mga holders ng PDRs ang may power to vote,
Technically,
they
they
will
can.
be entitled to vote on these things also. But since they are not Filipinos, they cannot possibly vote on this matter. If they did vote, it's an illegal vote kasi foreigner nga sila. So,
But then, what is the
wala talaga.
ending?
Anong
As
ending?
established during the proceeding, ABS-CBN Holdings has admitted to pledging almost two-thirds, 62% of ABS-CBN shares to non-Filipinos. This pledge appears to have allowed foreigners a measure of control on 62% of ABS-CBN shares held by ABS-CBN Holdings, which in effect, upon the desire of these non-Filipino exercising rights over their ABS-CBN shares, can prevent potentially. The potential is as essential as
It's essential as
real.
its actual possibility
Yeah,
of
can
having been done.
prevent ABS-CBN Holdings from consenting to the required two-thirds vote of outstanding shareholders of ABS-CBN.
So, ibig sabihin, pwede silang pigilan ng mga foreigners. Pero kung halimbawa, pumayag naman yung mga foreigners, hindi ibig sabihin na wala ng issue. Kasi hindi pa rin na wholly Filipino yung two-thirds na bumoto doon.
Diba?
So in this new merger, for example, kung hindi pumayag yung mga foreigner dyan, hindi sila makakapag-merger with TV5. Pero given that if this setup is still true until now, when they decided to merge with TV5, then the foreigners agreed to this merger.
Apparently agreed. Okay.
Apparently.
So given the network is a mass media entity required to be 100% Filipino owned and managed, and noting its stature and influence in Philippine society and public policy, ABS-CBN should have been circumspect to avoid any doubt or suspicion of impropriety from its scheme of allowing foreigners to hold PDRs corresponding to shareholdings in ABS-CBN. So why are they burying this document? Why is this document dead?
It's not dead.
It's still here? Is this real? We're looking at?
This is not an illusion. Well, I think it is an illusion because Adrian is a magician. We don't even know where he is. Even if he's part of Luminous now and Trixie is out for a while, we do not really know who this guy is.
Yeah, but
Do you know
I know him.
Do you
I've
know
seen
him in person?
I've talked to him at least in person. Okay.
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 Good.
Not skin to skin, not lips
Face
to
to
lips,
face.
or not I don't know.
Online lang, online.
Online. Okay.
Well,
So
there
this-
you go.
this-
Because this guy is a kind of magician to me. But I like him. That's why I invited him to Luminous.
Yeah, and we as long as he does not say crazy stuff, no.
Well, actually,
Diba?
even if he does say crazy stuff, I would still have invited him.
Yeah, because
he provides
he says
things eh.
he provides intelligent crazy stuff.
Yes, exactly.
Di ba?
And so, I am not a purist na kung talagang pro Marcos ako, dapat hindi ako
Ah,
komunista
no.
ever in my life.
No, no, no. No, no.
Kalokohan niyang ganyan.
This document, my golly, will destroy so many other damay-damay things. Like what we talked about yesterday, the damay-damay things, no? From 576A, 576, and instruction number 1-A. Di ba?
Oo.
Di ba?
One dash. Yung
There are
sequestration.
documents which are actually public documents that can be retrieved that people do not know about, and people are just don't look.
Magic.
Doon na. Magic.
Doon kayo tumingin sa sugar crisis.
Sugar.
Do not look here.
Pero pagdating sa sugar, doon ka, tingin ka kay Bongbong, tingin ka kay Trixie.
Kay Trixie.
Kay
tingin ka kay
Trixie, ah. Yes, Trixie, back to punta kayo. Oy, may hinuling smuggler.
May ni-raid.
Asan yung sakada?
Wala nga nag-uusap sa sakada kasi mga komunista nga daw kasi yung mga sakada.
Huwag yung pag-usapan yung sakada. Sila naman yung tunay na mga biktima po eh.
Magagalit sa'yo yung mga mga purist na mga anti insurgency na galit talaga kahit na
Ay, actually, if you want a copy, I will give you the copy. The copy is not in Adrian's possession. It is in the possession of
the Congress of the Philippines.
ating kagalang-galang na Business Mirror.
Oh, Business Mirror. Mabuhay ang Business Mirror.
Mabuhay ang Business Mirror.
Sino
Advertiser
may-ari nga
yan.
si Mane?
DWIZ.
Mabuti na lang. Competent.
Di ba sa DWIZ yan? Yung Filipino Mirror, Business Mirror?
Filipino Business Mirror, I'm not sure. Pero yung
Hindi
Filipino
ba?
Mirror, yes. No,
Alam
I'm
ko
not
sa
sure.
DWIZ din yan.
Baka nga.
Ay, whatever.
Ano ba yung kay Business World?
Business World yung kay
katabi.
Business
Okay,
World yung
tama
kay Manny.
Tama.
Alam ko yung Filipino Mirror, Business Mirror, kay
Tama.
Kabangon
IG.
Chua yung mga yan.
I
Sa
think
IG
so.
group yan.
Yeah.
Yun! Get it there. You have a copy of this whole thing. And we must disseminate this because Congress is trying to hide this from us. In the same way that, Enrile is trying to hide letter of instruction number 1-A. And if you want proof that 1-A really exists, find it in the lawfield.com. Lawfield.net pala, no? Lawfield.net. There is a decision there that confirms that Enrile really sequestered those stations. And it is a 1990 something decision. They affirmed his actions as the sequestrator. Traitor? Or the traitor?
Hindi, siya yung inorderan. Siya ba yung
Traitor?
inorderan na mag-sequester nung
Kaya nga, ano ba tawag doon?
Ano ba sinabi niya? Hindi niya sinequester lahat? O konti lang?
Sinabi niya sa Congress, di ba? Hindi, sinabi niya wala siyang sinequester nung sinarado lang daw niya. Yan yung sinabi niya nung Congress.
Sinara lang.
Sinara niya lang. Business Mirror.
Maybe sequestration and closing it down are two different things. So, who knows? Basta siya yung nag-implement nun. And the way he implemented it is that he closed down the stations.
Whatever.
Okay,
Whatever, yaya.
Continue.
Hindi. Ganito. Pahinga tayo ng konti. Pagbigyan natin sila ng Hello, Med and JP.
Tama na muna.
Good evening. Tingnan mo to si ating friend.
Pinsan ko.
Hi,
Hello, Aya.
Ate Pinsan. I miss you so much. Where is my Santori?
Santori nga, masarap.
Umuwi ka na nga lang dito kasi.
Single
Pwede na
malt
pala
Single malt ba yan, Santori?
Santori? Kahit na hindi. Kahit na yung ordinaryo, Santori, ang sarap pa rin.
Masarap pa rin inumin.
Santori or Yamasaki. Hindi, pinsan to ni Ahmed. Napakabait. At saka yung asawa nito si Kuyano. Good evening, sir. Watashi wa. Ano ba? Watashi wa
Why yung
yukata
gozaimasu?
desu ka?
Ay, parang good day yata yun. Ewan ko, hindi ko na alam. Yun na lang, Mansay ni po ang
Ang bait na asawa nito si Mr. Kuyano. Ay, okay. Ano ba mga
Yeah.
reaction niyo so far? Because if you have a copy of this document, you can study it on your own because there are a lot of things here that will shock you, amaze you, and at the same time, make you think, what the hell? We have intelligent congressmen in the House. Oh my God.
magagaling.
Sometimes they also think, but sometimes when they think,
Alala, pumayag na si Aya, pumayag si Aya. Santuarin daw
oh, Santore,
Ito talaga si Aya, pagka may
Banzai.
hinihingi yung mga ito si JP, binibigay agad no?
Oh,
Ako,
syempre.
hinihingi ko isang batang kitigera, hindi ako pinapadalan yan
Tangki de guerra naman yung hinihingi mo. Kung tangki lang sana ng LPG, pwede pa.
Meron na nga akong tangke na binigay niyan Tangke ng LPG.
Diba? Van Torres, napakasarap ng Yamasake. Yamasake. Alam nyo ba kung saan yan na madaling bilhin? Ha? Sa California. Sa Costco.
Sa California?
Sa Costco.
Sa,
Costco.
sa US?
Costco.
US?
Oh, sa US.
Yung Costco
Dami
na
nandun.
ito
Ito ba yung tamang term? Ito
Oo,
pa rin tamang term. Sequesture. Sequesture o sequestrator. Mas maganda ata yung sequestrator.
Sequester.
Madalhan mo daw sinong padalhan mo? Sino yan si Dream Team Senator?
Sino ba yan si Dream Team Senator?
Nanaginip
Sino po
ba
yan?
to? Sino si Si Hontiveros? Kasi si Hontiveros, okay, by the way, gusto ko sana mag-post kanina tungkol kay Hontiveros. Kasi nakita ko ng headline.
Nang
Bongbong
inutusan niya yung
Marcos
presidente?
or urged to appoint DA exec. Isipin mo, Ahmed, I urge you, replace yourself.
Ang presidente yun no? The separation of powers.
Bastos ka, no? Hindi ka bastos, no?
Ano yun, nag-file siya ng resolution to urge the president to do that?
I don't know.
That's completely insane. I mean,
Kung ganyan
you
naman
don't do
yung
that.
ating opposition, kung ang opposition natin ay ganyan, saan tayo pupulutin?
Oo nga, no? Parang it's not only
It's an insult to democracy.
Misunderstanding of principles of democracy. It's a direct bare-faced violation, di ba? Parang brazen
Of
violation
common decency.
of power.
Of
Separation
common
of
decency. Wag na yung powers.
Mutual courtesy. Di ba?
Meron ba tayong, kahit na nga heckler, hindi nga natin iniinsulto ng ganyan dito, di ba? We try to be magnanimous. We try to be politically correct. We say thank you. Sabihan nyo kami dyan, ang bobo nyo naman, sasabihin namin, thank you. You can go if you like. Di ba?
And I will
Or you
bang
can
your
stay
ass.
if you want. Di ba? Ganon kami dito. Pero
Minsan,
ikaw yung
minsan
head.
nangaaway din kami ng makupal talaga sa page.
Hindi, tingnan mo. Inaway ko ba si Kiko? Hindi asin siya
Inaway
ito,
mo.
Ito si Rocky na
Meron
inaway.
kang proxy. Meron ka kasing proxy. Meron kang
Wala
proxy
naman ako
Rocky.
inutos. Wala naman ako inutos. Ang sinabi ko lang, you are welcome. Join us. Come here. Join us. Let me wipe your ass with the truth, di ba? Or wipe your drool out of your baba, di ba? Para mga bata, punasan mo. Kasi tumutulo na yung lawi. Di ba? Hindi mo siya babastusin. Yun yung demokrasya, yun yung senador ka ng banyan.
Hindi, pagka binastos ka, you have the right of reply. Kung democracy pa rin yun. Pero we don't do that all the time. Sparingly lang.
Pero napatingin nga pala ako dito sa harapan ko, nakikita nyo, namin dito mga quadrants sa bayan. Napapalibutan pala ako ng larawan ng puro mga dilawan.
Sino ba yung mga nandun?
Lahat. Lahat ng pamangkin ko, mga kapatid ko, napapaligbutan pala
Sasakalin
ako
ka
ng
ng mga kaluluwa ng mga yan.
Ayan, no? Nakasablay.
Mag out of body experience sila para
Tenista.
sakalin ka dyan.
UP College of Medicine. Ateneo College of Business. Sus ko. Puro mga dilawan. Ako nga wala nga akong picture dito nung graduate ako. Nasaan nga ba yung picture ko? Ako lang ata walang picture dito sa buong pamilya namin. Oo nga, wala.
Pareho tayo. Ako rin. Wala rin ako picture nung graduation kasi hindi ako graduate eh.
Ako graduate ako ng tama.
Hindi ako graduate. Ibig sabihin, hindi ako pumunta doon sa marcha. Pero
Kaya nga,
graduate.
alam ko, hindi ka nagmarcha kasi tamad ka. Kasi iba yung
Hindi tamad.
schedule nyo. Iba yung schedule nyo,
tamad,
hindi
tampo
kayo
ako sa
hinarap.
UP.
Kaya hindi kayo hinarap sa amin. Kasi kayo, mga salingkit-kit.
Mga yabang kami.
Oo. Andun kayo, yung mga magna cum laude, mga yung mga yung mga honoris something, meron kayong fraternity.
Feather.
Oh.
Oo.
Yan,
dapat
yung
gusto ko kasi sumali sa inyo dahil mga cum laude lang tayo eh. Hindi naman tayo.
Pero ito yung pinaka-cool sa lahat. Ito, dilawan to pinaka-cool sa lahat.
Sino ba yan? Si ano?
Ha?
Sino? Hindi ko makita.
Ha? Pinaka-cool sa lahat to.
Hindi ko makita eh.
Wag na lang kasi baka magalit ka. Awayin pa ako niyan. Darating pa naman yan bukas.
Baka 9/11 ka dyan, tatalon mo na siya tapos 9/11 ka sa kwarto mo.
Hindi, piloto. Piloto,
Kaya
magna
nga,
cum laude.
baka
Magna cum
9/11
laude,
ka dyan.
piloto. At not only that, dilawan na open-minded at nakikinig at hindi bastos.
Si Becca
Yan ang
na,
gusto
si
ko.
Becca ba yan? Si Becca
Ha?
ba yan? Si
Hindi,
Becca ba yan?
si Sam.
Si Sam.
Taga-UP yan. Hindi
Malupit
bastos.
yan si Sam, ang talino niyan, grabe, ibang klase.
Oo. Hindi, yun yung gusto ko eh. You argue. You stick to your lie. If you have to lie, you lie. And if you know that you're already caught lying, you just smile. Di ba?
Oh,
Do
or
not,
admit it. Okay, I kinda lied there. What the fuck?
Or, di ba? Dito naman eh. Di ba?
Ganun
Ganun lang. Uy, ba't mayroon akong Gcash na email dito? Pay with Gcash for more
Patingin nga. Patingin.
Hindi, email. O nga. Ay, maglagay nga tayo ng Gcash natin.
Patingin na dito sa ating patingin
Hindi,
na kung
siya?
yung address mo.
Ano, no?
Patingin
Hindi,
ang address mo sa Gcash. Yung, yan.
Ayan.
Gusto ko
Yan. Hindi
Yung
kasi
917.
may email na lumabas na notification. Ayun, so
576A pa rin yan.
ay,
Hindi, iyaan mo na. Matapos na. Rock music.
wag mo na. 1:30 pa lang eh. Konting lang. Meron lang akong konting itatanong para sa bukas. Yung balikan ko yung mo, yung constitution mo. Mas gusto ko yun eh. How do you
Ito nga pala,
propose
kailangan
to?
kung
Yan.
kailangan ko pala.
Yun ang mas importante natin pag-usapan. Because all of, alam mo yun, on top of all of these issues, napaka-importante na maintindihan natin yung basics. Di ba? The basics here is, we really do not even dare or attempt to understand our Constitution. Mahirap siya.
Oo
Yes. Mahirap siya.
Mahirap.
Hindi siya madali. I will tell you. Nung nag-constiwan ako dyan kay...
Pero alam mo yon, it's
Well,
one step ahead eh. Kung nakabasa ka na ng Constitution, at least alam mo yung geography na saan nahanapin yung mga provision na yan.
Yes.
Di ba?
Yes,
Lamang ka na eh. Kaysa yung talagang hindi pa nabasa talaga yung
Correct.
actual Constitution. Yung
And the worst
lang
is-
ng tanda na hindi pa rin alam.
And the worst is, mangampanya ka na baguhin yung Constitution without even reading it.
No,
Diba?
nakakahiyaya nga yung gano'n.
That's the worst. Wag naman. If we really want to change it, let's change it knowing what we want to change. Knowing what's wrong with it. Hindi nang i-invento lang tayo ng kung ano-ano mga kalokohan na mga panawagan ni, sino to? Sino yung the only people who are brazen enough or brave enough to call us stupid or call us crazy are the
Si, si,
ones who
si
sino
ano ba
yan?
pangalan nung yun?
Orion. Orion.
Ryan Perez. Lakas ng loob, eh.
Di ba? And then their people do not even know what they're talking about. They're calling for 100% Filipino, 100% foreign ownership. The very things that we're talking here. And they do not
O yan,
even
yan,
know
yan.
that there are only very few
Who actually read the Constitution.
industries which require certain percentages to be owned by Filipinos. Anong klaseng
Oo nga.
klaseng
Konting-konti
argumento
lang.
yan?
3, 4 lang yata yan eh. Di ba? Production of
Hindi,
nuclear
more.
weapons.
Mass media, 100%. Meron pang ibang mga 100% eh. Do you remember what else?
Yung negative list.
No.
Negative list.
Yung practice of professions, 100% yan. O binago na yan. Hindi naman natin pwedeng baguhin yan, di ba?
Ang practice of profession kasi as an organization, it cannot be done. For example, yung mga doktora, they cannot practice a profession as a partnership. They cannot practice a profession by themselves, but the partnership yung paghati ng profits. Kasi mga lawyers, hindi yan pwedeng, limited partnership, parang partnership for a specific purpose. Ito na yung constitution natin.
Why is it blue in my screen? It's very blue.
Kasi clickable yan siya eh. It's when you click it, it takes you to the actual text. Okay?
Like the whole thing is blue?
Territory. Hindi. Yung black, hindi mo ba nakikita pa? Hindi pa gumagalaw?
Okay.
Ayan.
There.
Hyperlink siya, hyperlink.
okay. Mm-hmm.
So,
and
gusto
you're
nyo
posting
mamili,
this?
ha?
Where will you post this para pwede natin...
Nasa Luminous to, gagawin kong pin post doon sa Luminous ngayon. Hold on.
Alright.
Para makita
And
nyo
then,
yung
kung alin part dyan ang gusto namin gawin, or gusto namin
isulat
i-voice
nyo kasi
over,
meron document doon na posted
Parang
on Google ano ba yan? Google workplace or work whatever. That
So,
is
pag
publicly
kinlay mo.
shared. Publicly shared yun. So you can put your name there and say, I will claim Article 6.
mine.
Oh, and kung maraming sections, you will specify the sections under that article kung anong gusto mo. Teka lang, ano ko muna siya. Publicly, pin share ko muna para maganda.
Good
Sige,
night,
magsalita ka muna siya. Huwag
Good
muna
night,
mag-good night.
Newdy. Hindi, si Newdy kasi nag-good night at saka si Godesses Kuyano. Si Aya. Si Aya, siyempre, matutulog yan. Nasa Japan yan eh. Ano ba yung sinasabi nila pag paglalabas na?
Sayonara.
Thank you.
Sayonara. Sayonara.
Sayonara. Okay. Hi, wakaramustang. Okay,
Ano
sino
yan?
ba to? Si RC Cobillanes. Good job. God bless to you all. Yes. And you too, Miss RC. And sino pa? Si Osang. Defense. Defense of what? Defense of stranger. Di ako nagtapos sa UP Diliman. Uy,
Does
bakit?
it matter?
Does it matter? You don't have to finish anything there. Do you know that to become an alumni, you only need to stay in an institution for 2 years? Yung mga nagsasabi dyan, na hindi naman alumni ng Princeton yan kasi hindi naman siya gumaduate doon. Ulul. The definition of an alumni is only 2 years in an institution, even if you did not graduate.
Alumnus ka na. Ganon?
Yes. Because
Galing,
your anus will already be
Alum.
with alum.
Teka muna,
Kakaupo.
asan na yung post? Hindi ko na
Sa tagal.
nakikita.
Sa tagal lang upo mo doon. Yung anus mo may alum na.
Teka muna, saan na ba yun?
Ano saan ba? We're waiting
Yung
for
ano?
your, ano?
Kaya nga, hinahanap ko na yung post ko nawawala.
You find it. Yan yung problema. Yan yung problema sa Facebook kasi wala siyang search engine. Ako nga, nahihirapan akong hanapin yung sarili kong post dyan eh. So, okay. Ito, gusto ko tong project ni Ahmed na to eh. And I know a lot of you too. Parang gagawa tayo ng first ever parang e-book, no? Ano yung tawag dyan?
Parang
hindi siya e-book eh.
Audio, video,
Audibles. No, yun yung tawag dyan, di ba? Audibles. Audiobook. Ha? Abay, ewan ko sa'yo. Kaya nga, hinahanap ko nga rin sa'yo nung simula nito kasi sabi ko...
Wala ba sa isang dangkal?
No, wala sa akin.
Tignan mo rin. Meron.
Wala. Kasi pinakinggan ko yun. Tapos sabi ko, sakto hanapin. Kaya ang dapat makakalam niyan, yung si Cherry something. Jeremy. Because she was able to comply. So maybe you can, kung may natanggap ka sa kanya by email, you ask her how she got it. Because I was also wondering how.
Asan ba yun? Ba't wala na dito? May bumura?
May mga comments ba kayo? Mabuhay Mrs. Mir, mabuhay Mrs. Okay, wakramashita. Hay, wakramistang. Hay, wakramistang.
Ayun, nahanap ko na.
Okay, ha. Asa day ka nag-bachelor's your day, P? Sa UP, siyempre. Si try 1, 2, 3.
Ayun yan, nakapin post na siya.
UP Diliman po, UP Diliman. Bachelor of Science in Economics. Science, not arts. Kasi yung arts, no, obsolete na ata yun at yun yung nakuha ni
Wala na yata ngayon sa UP.
Yun yung nakuha ni Lenny. Their course is already obsolete. Pareho sila siguro ng course ni Secretary
Ma'am Lenny.
Sino yung secretary ng Secretary ng visit ng DTI? Mon Lopez, mga Bachelor of Arts.
Ayan na.
Economics.
Pindutin niyo yung link, dadalhin kayo doon sa...
Wait.
Google Docs. Ay, ipopost ko
salamat.
ba dyan?
Matsala sa UAE. Saan namin yan pupuntahan? Saan yung link dyan?
Nandun sa Luminous page. Tingnan nyo.
Okay.
Nakapin siya, na pinakamataas.
So later on, we go to the Luminous page. We go to that link. We claim what part we want to make.
Yes.
And we can...
may table doon eh.
Alright. Pwede partner. Ganon.
Pwede.
Pwede whatever. Basta boses ng Pilipino, style ng Pilipino, para ma-verbalize natin yung ating saligang batas.
Ang hirap
no?
ng tingnan.
Ito may nagtanong. Bakit one dangkal? Ano ibig sabihin ng one dangkal? Hindi ko lang alam kasi kung bakit hindi gumagana yung video na part, yung parang animation ng logo ng Facebook kasi dati gumagana yan eh. Ang ibig sabihin ng dangkal, isang dambana ng kalayaan. Putol-putol lang yan. Isang dambana yung ng kalayaan. Yung logo ko dapat gumagalaw yon. Tapos yun yung form. Hindi siya gumagalaw. Yung natitira. Hindi ko na rin mabago. Kaya yun ang nangyari dyan. Brooklyn.
May isi-share ako na
ano yun?
What am I sharing?
Ay, meron na ako dito niya.
Ayan. Kita nyo na?
Alin yan? I-add mo muna. Hindi mo ina-add eh. What is that? So that is how it will look like.
Yes.
Yan
yung pin post.
Alright. Oh, by the way, talking about utang and pin post. Yung iyong call to action last time na mag-post doon ng kanya-kanyang way of saying na Maria Reza does not represent me. Ginawa ko ng pin post sa isang dangkal. Okay? Ha?
May utang ka kaya sabi mo.
Ikaw tuloy ang wala.
Wala akong utang?
Wala kang pin post.
Meron
I-post
ako
ni
pero
Big.
hindi ko nakapin.
O, kaya
Meron
nga,
ako post.
so pinin ko siya doon. O, bahala
Oh,
kayo dyan, di ba? Panoorin nyo to araw-araw, Maria. By the way, yun. So yan pala yan. Okay, so we will look for that in... Why don't you put that also in the groups? Kasi doon sa groups, meron kang pwedeng ilagay doon. Sa Luminous groups. Malay mo, may mga gusto doon. Di ba?
sige. Sige.
Because we need more voices and more volunteers for this one.
Oo, kasi kahit na nabuo na natin 'yan, meron pa ring video clips. We can make another edition.
Yup.
Kasi para hindi boring kung napanood ko na yung first edition I will watch the second edition and the third edition. I intend to invite many groups. Halimbawa, one group would be the administration, the officials. Kung pumayag yung presidente na magbasa siya ng the executive department o yung preamble, ang ganda.
Oo.
Di ba? Maraming
Di ba?
babasa nun. Maraming babasa nun. Si Robin Padilla, for example, senator, o mga senador, one edition by the senators. Okay
Correct.
din yun.
Yeah.
And I intend to do that. So we are going to do it first, tayo muna, para tayong mauna. And then anybody can copy it. Even the opposition, even the yellows can do it. And I can only
Everybody
be so
welcome.
happy that they do.
And I
Diba?
would like to ask Orion to read the part on the Philippine...
He will also be happy dahil matututo siya eh.
Ay, hindi. Pakita ko lang to. Pakita ko lang. Pwede?
Sige, tanggalin mo na yan.
Hindi. Iano ko lang to. Show ko lang to. O, yan yun, no? Gumagalaw dapat.
Oo, merong animation.
Kaya lang nawala. Yun ang sagot sa'yo, madam. Saang edition kaya ako? Doon na tayo kaya, Rocky, sa yung natapos na nilang ma-revise yung constitution na after the constitutional convention. Mukhang nagsasaka ka sa water. Hindi, yun, malinaw yung grabe ka naman. Grabe, ang sama naman ni Brooklyn. Hindi naman malinaw yan i-show ko ulit hindi naman ikaw talaga. Isang dangkal lang yan. Bakit ba isang dangkal pala? Ito yung nakakatawa dyan sa mga gustong manginsulto na isang dangkal na lang utak nitong taon to eh. So, subukan mo sukatin.
Yan ba yung origin yan?
Isang dangkal lang talaga sukat ng utak ng tao.
Oo naman.
Gusto ko sabihin, ikaw, ano ba sa'yo? May hydrocephalus ka.
Hydrocephalic.
Oo.
Conehead.
Diba? Subukan mong lumaki pa siya isang dangkal yung utak mo. May problema ka na. Okay. So that is how we will do it. Sige.
Yep.
Usap tayo dyan. Anong gagawin natin dyan? Yung mahaba, yung tungkol sa nuclear power.
Hindi, may lang yung nuclear power. Ang mahaba yung yung social yung labor, yung basta yun. Social
yun.
justice. Social justice.
Maganda tong project na to. Wag natin lulubayan at wag din natin lalo na yung mga na maintindihan natin yung constitution. It takes time and time to read it again and again and again. Maniwala kayo sa akin. Ako hindi ako nagyayabang na nabasa ko yan, pero
sa kakapanood mo ng iba't ibang edition, memorize mo na yung constitution eh.
Yeah, but you really have to read it again and again para manamnam mo yung meaning. At mahirap siya, hindi siya ganun kadali talaga. And if you do not start, and if we do not start, or if we do not encourage people to start,
no one will do it on its own eh.
Lulukohin lang tayo ng lulukohin ng mga politiko, lulukohin ng mga alam mo yun, gugulat-gulatin lang tayo ng mga kung sino-sino dyan. Magiging pushover tayo
Dahil
kapag
hindi
ganyan
natin alam.
Ah,
Dahil hindi natin alam yung sarili nating konstitusyon.
At least man lang dyan, huwag tayong maging pushover. Shaka, surfer. Surfer. Ano kasi yan? Alam mo yun, I'll tell you the truth. Yang pool na yan, ay plastic yan na pool na hindi na natanggal nung simula nung pandemya. Tapos nagkaroon na siya ng mga dahon ng tumi. yun. At hindi naman ako makaalis. Kasi ginawa ko to in the middle of the pandemic, di ba? Itong isang tangkal, no? Ahmed, no? Ito yung nagbuyo sa akin yan eh. 2020.
Tama.
May 2020. Yun. Patukhang na si Sir JP. Wag naman. Banana chips lang to. Hindi, natawa talaga ako dun sa ano. It is the, alam mo yun, the funniest intellectual comedy. Sometimes kasi alam mo yun, ay nako, yung panluloko sa atin, nakakatawa na minsan. Confused, or tinamaan ng kidlat. O yun. So, ito ni Ahmed, meron ka pang mga reminders sa ating mga friends?
Yung ating project, tama, please participate in our project para ano.
And tayo ay mag-recruit nga kayo ng mga friends na sasali sa atin dito na dumami, no? Para maging masaya tayo at magtugtog tayo ng music para pumangit yung signal. Mamaya na.
Mamaya na pala.
Last. Wala mong sound. Ano lang to? Yan. Good night na ba sa inyo lahat? Pasabog ko. Uy, may pasabog. Hindi siya, it's not one of the better banana chips that I can find, but it's not too sweet. Ito yung sinasabi ni Sherwin Gatchalian na dati ang banana chips ay caramelized, ngayon ay ganyan na lang ang asukal, oh. Sugar crisis. Wala talaga siyang asukal.
Oo, alam ko na may nagpadala na si Jeremy napadala na niya yung kanya. At last time I checked, dalawa na yung nagpagpadala. Si Mami Basang, I think siya yung isa.
Pero mali.
Then, ano, JP?
Mali si Sherwin Gatchalian. Dahil, tinan mo, ito.
Hello, Edwin
Miranda. This is still one of the
wala
best.
Na, hindi na gumalaw si JP.
Ayan. Pinapakita ko lang. It is still glazed.
Ano ba yan?
This is
glazed o ano? Di pa dati caramelized, sabi niya ni Subiri?
Hindi. Pag i-caramelize mo to, maglalambot to. It's still good.
Right.
There is no sugar crisis in Osamis City or in Roqueta City. And thank you sa inyo lahat. Thank you for joining us tonight, laughing with us, laughing at ABS-CBN. And pagdasal na lang natin kung kayo ay naniniwala kay Maria Ressa bilang Santa Maria. Kabila.
Rocky.